Hello, this is Mustard Seed Social Live, and today we're going to be talking about how to convert likes into sales. Okay, so when you join, please say hi, and if you're on the replays, put hashtag replay and also introduce yourself. I would love that. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Miley Shunk, and I've been in marketing for a while. I got my degree in marketing from the University of Notre Dame, and been doing marketing in offices across the U.S. For a couple decades. In January 2017, I decided to start my own Facebook agency, and a year later, in 2018, is when I decided to focus specifically on Facebook ads. And now what I'd like to do is help businesses level up their Facebook and Instagram and also get Facebook ads ready. That's what a lot of my posts and videos do. So again, today we're going to be talking about how to convert likes into sales. And it's interesting because I see online a lot of ideas about how to do this, and sort of one of the best ways to do this is not to make people take a huge leap. So like one of the ideas out there is to make a huge offer, a significant discount in order to get people to buy, right? So that might not be the most ideal strategy if you already have an established business and you want to see the profit versus just get some customers, and especially not if you already have a following, like a bunch of people who already know you and trust you. You don't necessarily need to make an amazing discount, right? So sort of one of the ways that social media specialists like to approach this challenge is in a more methodical way. And someone that talks about this, that I like how they talk about this, is Brittany Bolin. She has the 4 selling systems, and I see a lot of other social media thought leaders who are quite successful using this. Hi, Chris. Glad to see you here. Okay, so what are the 4 selling systems? The selling systems are turning strangers into friends, friends into leads, leads into customers, and then customers into repeat customers. So what is attractive about this is, instead of asking people who are maybe new to your audience to take a huge leap, right, even if it is for an amazing discount, this is sort of a more methodical way to move people down the customer journey. So it's basically having a process for each stage. And it's much nicer, I think personally, because it's sort of like baby stepping people through from meeting you all the way to buying and buying again. So that's what I like about it. It's just kind of common sense. But I don't know, like a lot of social media thought leaders don't talk about it. I mean, they definitely do it, but so I'm just going to quickly walk through what those stages are. And this is just one way to talk about those stages, but what those stages are and how someone might implement them. So the first stage I mentioned is strangers to friends. And kind of presumably, if you're on this video, maybe you already figured this part out because it's saying like likes, maybe you already have the likes and you're trying to get people over to sales. But the first part of the process is strangers to friends. So it's just getting people, for social media wise, to talk to you, like comment, like on your business profile and pages. And yes, that does have a lot of value. So the way sometimes people miss this step, they're not able to do this step, it's like business to business, for example, is people sometimes need to go out and network on other people's pages to get likes on their page. Like to be to have friends, you have to be a friend. So that's maybe one way people miss this step. There's a lot of different ways to get people to interact with you on social media. So I'm not going to go in depth into that, but that's the first step. And I guess as an example would be for how to do this, because I want to make this more tangible and not, I don't know, too theoretical. But strangers to friends would be like if you sell vitamins, just simply telling your family and friends, please come to my business page. I have a business page. Did you know I have a business page? Come like it over here. And those that are really interested in vitamins are going to come, right? So one problem, what I think happens a lot is people get stuck in the friend zone. Who knows what the friend zone is? If you know what the friend zone is, say yes. So what we don't want to do is get stuck in the friend zone, right? So now we're stuck here and we're just friends, and you could never, trying to get someone to buy. So there's definitely a way out of it, and that's to progress them through these steps. So the next step is turning a friend into a lead. And a lot of people talk about this in terms of a lead magnet. So the process is you get their contact information, and that's good in the sense that it progresses the relationship, right? They trusted you enough that they gave you their name and phone number, and it's in exchange for something, right? It's usually in exchange for some kind of very helpful but free information. So that's what the lead magnet does. It takes them off of social media and into email. And it's nice because then you can more consistently talk to them and nurture the relationship, because you can't count on Facebook to show every single post to every single friend. So if you progress the relationship and you get them in your email, now you're, telling them about your company and your products and services in a more consistent way. Great. Thank you for participating. Chris says, I've heard of the friend zone, right? He's like me. So yes, an idea that's been around for a while is the lead magnet. So you offer something amazing, and I'm going to give an example. It would be like top 10 vitamins you need in your cupboard, right? You just write up something that is useful. Maybe if you've been talking to your audience enough, you actually have a really good idea of what they would give you their contact information for. And then you say, hey, if you want it, you got to give me your contact information. And something I like doing even more than that is making it a paid, like even for a small dollar amount, which I have addressed in another video, like best ad strategy. But for now, I don't want to get too off topic. So, right. So the next step is to take them into your email, basically. And that's good for communication. That's just good for the relationship. So the third step is turning leads into customers. And this is basically just making offers, right? So making offers everywhere. So that's in your email, in Facebook groups, and just in general on different social media. So the way I see people missing this step is maybe not making enough offers, just making offers seldom, because it actually does take a little bit of time to think it out and structure it, like write it up, even if you're just writing it up for a post. But it is a good idea to make offers and have them on some kind of schedule, whether it's like monthly because your bigger organization is giving them to you, or like quarterly, having a focus for that season. But that is one way to, you're not going to move someone if you never make the offer, right? So I see the way people falling down on this is a little bit like not making the offer enough, because they're so busy creating all this content, but it's fair to your business to make the offer. So make the offer. And then if you think about it from the really super interested customers, like who doesn't like a deal, right? Do you like a deal? Type yes if you like a deal. If usually these offers are a little bit of a deal. So you could look at it like these people, the most interested people, they want your offer. So the fourth and final stage in the process, once you have someone as a customer, is making them a repeat customer. So this is something that another one, people miss this step by not doing email. But you want to continue to talk to people who bought from you before. Sometimes businesses can get so focused on getting new leads, because that is really important, that they don't nurture the old leads. And that's kind of the value of email again. And you almost hit two birds with one stone, because you're trying to nurture the people you just met and be like, this is my company and this is my product. But like, especially, I'm going to take it back to the health businesses. Like, somebody bought this one thing from you, but they don't know about this really cool other thing that you do. So if they're on your email, then you're consistently letting them know, oh, I know you bought um, this exercise workout system from me, but I also offer vitamins and I also offer shakes, and you know what I mean. So it's that can be a significant and also easier and more affordable way to get more sales. Oh, hi Malia, thanks for letting us know you're here. So yeah, the way I see people missing this step is basically not doing email, right? Because it can, it takes a little bit of time, but you don't. I'm not saying you have to do an email every other day or even every week, like whatever, like maybe once a month, or get a virtual assistant. Definitely, I want to do more emails. I need to do more emails myself. But this is an important part of the process. If you're going to take all these people you spent this time developing these relationships on social media, and you want to convert it all the way down to getting some sales, you want to hit each of these steps somewhat methodically, and then once you're doing that, then you can kind of get a system going and even troubleshoot, right? But even just having this framework, I think, is really helpful, because you can see, oh, well, that's why I'm not getting as much sales, because I left off this step, and like some steps you don't absolutely have to, like, you don't have to do a lead magnet. You can make people jump from from friends to like a low dollar buyer, but it's kind of like it's generally nice to just baby step people through, right? Because they're growing in trust and experiencing your products and services. So it's generally helpful. So if anybody has that industry that they would like ideas on, just you could say your industry and I will give you ideas on the fly while you're here, and even on the hashtag replay. And so another thing is I do offer a strategy session where I go through and I look at a person's industry and their business, and I like help troubleshoot their social media, and then and give them a plan to go through this whole process. So if that's something people are interested in, then you can DM me and I can tell you about that service, which I need to make an offer for. So okay, so Chris is selling. I'm not talking about. Okay, so you have another system here, right? So somebody else who incorporates a lot of the things that I'm talking about. Okay, right. Thank you. The other person hires money, right? That's all good, right? So this is something that people who work online might be a little more familiar with, but right, and this is the big overview, like going through these different systems and using them to convert likes into sales. Okay, so that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great rest of your Thursday. Glad to see you guys. Thanks. Bye.